Somewhere around 3 in the afternoon on December 28th, 2024, a single Instagram caption from Meri Brown turned into one of the loudest comment sections of the entire Sister Wives fandom's year. 4 words. It's a Christmas miracle. That's all it took. And if you think the drama in this family only happens on camera, inside a Utah living room or a Flagstaff kitchen, you have not been paying attention to what happens underneath the post. Because sometimes the real fight isn't in the family's holiday photo at all. It's in the thousands of comments stacked up underneath it. Fans typing at each other in real time, building entire theories out of a caption, a missing post, or a single suspicious like. That's where this story actually lives. So here's the promise right up front, because you need a reason to stay for the next 20 minutes, and I'm going to give you one. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you the one detail buried inside this entire 2024 holiday season that almost nobody noticed while it was happening. A silence so complete, so total, that once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it in every Brown family headline that came after. But to get there, we have to start at the beginning with the post that actually broke the comment section wide open and work our way through exactly how a single family's Christmas turned into a full year of digital trench warfare. Stick around for that, because it changes how you read every single post this family makes from here on out. Let's set the stage, because context matters here, and this part is fully documented. 2024 was, without question, the heaviest year this family has lived through in public. Garrison Brown, Kody and Janelle's son, passed away in March of that year, and the family asked for privacy and space to grieve. We're not here to relitigate that loss or treat it as a plot twist. It deserves better than that, and so does this family. What we are here to talk about is something different. How the surviving wives and Kody himself chose to show up or not show up on social media for the rest of that year, all the way through Thanksgiving and Christmas, and how an audience that had spent years building entire personalities for these women online reacted to every single move. And here's a meta point worth sitting with before we even get to the actual posts. This fandom has spent close to 2 decades building full personalities for women it has never met, almost entirely out of captions, photo angles, and who liked what. Meri is the underdog. Janelle is the strong one. Christine is the one who got out. Robyn is, depending entirely on which corner of the comment section you land in, either the villain or the most misunderstood wife in the house. None of those labels came from a courtroom or a confession. They came from years of comment sections like the ones we're about to walk through. And 2024's holiday season is where almost every one of those labels got tested at once. By the time the holidays rolled around in November and December of 2024, the fandom was already primed. Earlier that October, on the show itself, Meri had told viewers flatly that she'd turned down an invitation to spend Thanksgiving with Kody and Robyn, saying it would feel weird, like being a third wheel in her ex-husband's house. Kody, for his part, admitted on camera that his marriage with Robyn changes shape entirely whenever his other former wives are in the room. So going into the holiday season, fans already had a scoreboard in their heads. Who's invited where? Who's avoiding who? Who's going to post first? And that's the energy this entire comment section saga dropped into. Now here's where the first real spike in comment volume happened, and it's the post you need to understand first. On December 28th, 2024, Meri Brown posted a photo of herself with her arm around a man named Brandon Stone. The caption read in full, "It's a Christmas miracle," with the hashtags mystery man and life is good. That's documented. That's her own words, her own account, her own holiday post. And the comment section did exactly what you'd expect a fandom that has watched this woman go through a public, drawn-out divorce to do. It exploded with curiosity. Who is this guy? Is this serious? Good for her. About time. The comments piled up fast because after years of Meri being framed as the sister wife everyone felt sorry for, this was the plot twist nobody expected during the 1 week of the year built for nostalgia and looking backward. But, and hold on to this because it matters in a few minutes, that wasn't even the strangest part of how this story unfolded. Worth noting here too, Meri has consistently kept the largest following of any of the wives on Instagram, which means whatever she posts starts with a bigger built-in audience than anyone else in this family, Robyn included. So when a caption like Christmas Miracle drops from an account with that kind of reach, it isn't just landing with her usual crowd. It's landing in front of casual fans, lurkers, and recap accounts all at once, which is exactly the kind of post that gets clipped, screenshotted, and passed around for days. Because in the weeks that followed that post, a woman showed up in Meri's comments claiming to actually be Brandon's real girlfriend. Picture that. A holiday mystery man reveal, dozens of thousands of comments deep in speculation, and then a stranger walks into the thread and says, essentially, hold on, that's my boyfriend. Now, here's where fans on Reddit start to wonder whether the whole thing was an inside joke between Meri and Brandon from the start, a bit they were both in on. Because Meri didn't backtrack or panic. She replied to the woman directly and called her a saint for putting up with the two of them. That's the clapback. Not anger, not damage control, humor, deployed in real time in the replies in front of everyone. And that single exchange did more to define how fans talk about Meri Brown's social media presence than almost anything she said on the actual show that season. And here's a stacked thought to carry forward before we move on. Because Meri wasn't the only one in this family who understood exactly how to use a comment section as a weapon that holiday season. Christine Brown did the same thing, just with sharper edges. A few months before the holidays, in September of 2024, Christine had asked her followers what their favorite Sister Wives memories were. Fans responded the way fans in this fandom tend to respond. Plenty of warm nostalgia, sure, but also a noticeable wave of comments specifically celebrating the moment Christine, Janelle, and Meri each walked away from Kody. And this part is documented. Christine didn't ignore those comments or let them scroll by. She took screenshots of several of them and reposted them to her own Instagram story, putting her ex-husband's failures on display, using her own fans' words instead of her own. It's a tactic and a clever one. Let the audience say the quiet part, then simply repost it. Fans online have nicknamed it her passive-aggressive era, and that exact screenshot kept recirculating through fan pages and recap accounts straight through the holiday season that followed, getting captioned and recaptioned every time someone wanted to make a point about how Christine really feels about her ex. Hold that thought, because the pattern of fans putting words in this family's mouths and family members occasionally letting them comes back one more time before we're done. So that's beat one: a forward caption, a flood of comments, and a plot twist baked directly into the replies. Now let's talk about who didn't show up to the holidays online at all, because the absence told its own story. And this is where the fandom's attention turned sharply toward Robyn and Kody. Here's what's confirmed. Robyn Brown's Instagram has been quiet for years at this point, with a follower count that sits well below her former co-wives. And that pattern held straight through the 2024 holiday season. No big Christmas post, no Thanksgiving spread, nothing. And Kody, this is the part that's genuinely documented and worth sitting with. Kody Brown's last Instagram post heading into that entire holiday season season was the one he made back in March, the one where the comments were turned off, the one announcing Garrison's passing. He did not post again. Not for Thanksgiving, not for Christmas. His account just sat there, frozen, while 3 of his former wives kept living their lives in front of an audience that was watching every single one of them like a hawk. Now, here's the part of this video that lands right around the midpoint. So let me ask you directly. Have you ever noticed that the loudest comment sections in this fandom almost never come from the person actually posting? They come from the gap where a post should be. Robyn and Kody's silence through the 2024 holidays did more to fuel discussion than almost anything Meri or Christine actively said. Now, here's where the fandom's mood gets genuinely interesting, and we're stepping into theory territory, so I want to be straight with you about that. Fans on Reddit and across comment sections spent a good chunk of that holiday season speculating about why Robyn and Kody had both effectively gone dark. Nobody outside that house actually knows the full answer, and I'm not going to pretend anyone does. But the speculation itself became its own kind of content. Some fans theorized Robyn had simply learned the hard way that posting anything at all, happy, sad, neutral, doesn't matter, gets her torn apart in the replies. So silence became the safer move. Others, further down the Reddit rabbit hole, pointed to an unverified comment that had circulated earlier that fall, supposedly from someone claiming a real-life connection to Robyn's extended family, describing her as someone who once got visibly upset about spending a Christmas alone years earlier. I want to be very clear that this is exactly the kind of claim that can never be confirmed. It traces back to an anonymous social media comment, not a documented statement from Robyn herself, and you should treat it with exactly that level of skepticism. But it spread through fan spaces anyway, because it fit a story the fandom already wanted to tell about her. And that story, the idea that Robyn is somehow at the center of every holiday rift this family has ever had, did not start in 2024. It's older than that. And it's the thing that resurfaces every single year like clockwork, which brings us to the part of this video that actually answers the question in the title. Here's the grievance fans bring back up constantly, every holiday season, whether the calendar says 2021 or 2024. Years earlier, when Meri reportedly floated the idea of inviting Janelle and her kids to a combined Christmas gathering, fans online have long claimed, and again, this lives firmly in fan theory and recap thread territory, not a confirmed statement from Robyn, that it was Robyn who pushed back on the idea, effectively keeping that holiday smaller and more divided than it could have been. Whether that's the full picture or an oversimplified piece of fandom lore that's been repeated so many times it now feels like fact, I genuinely can't tell you with certainty, and neither can anyone typing furiously in a comment section about it. What I can tell you is that this exact grievance gets dragged back out every single December. It doesn't matter what Robyn actually posts or doesn't post in a given year. The comment section finds a way to connect it back to that one alleged moment years later, like a scar that never fully closed. Ask yourself honestly, would this fandom even remember the details of a single Christmas from years ago if it didn't already need somewhere to put its frustration every winter? That's the thing this fandom can't forgive. Not one bad caption. A pattern they believe they've identified, and they bring it up on command every holiday season like it happened yesterday, whether Robyn has given them a single new reason to or not. Now, before we get to the payoff I promised you at the start, I have to show you the part of this story that completely flips the fan warframing on its head, because not every holiday post from this family turned into a fight. One didn't. And it's the one that matters most. In early December of 2024, Janelle Brown posted about gathering her family together in North Carolina for what she called the first of the big holidays without her son. She wrote about laughing over his sense of humor, telling stories about him, keeping his memory close at the table. Then, on Christmas Day itself, she posted old photos from the previous year's gathering to her Instagram stories with a short caption, "Miss you so much, sweetheart." Documented her own words, her own platform. And here's what actually happened in that comment section, because it's the opposite of everything else in this video. Instead of a fight, fans showed up with their own stories. People who'd lost a son, a brother, a mother, a stepson, total strangers writing paragraphs to a reality TV star they'd never met, telling her they understood exactly what that first holiday season without someone feels like. One person wrote that she'd lost her own son just months apart from Garrison and that she knew precisely what Janelle was carrying. Another talked about losing a brother years earlier and still feeling that hole every single December. That comment section didn't break the internet with outrage. It became something closer to a quiet, shared room full of strangers holding space for each other. And maybe that's worth pausing on for a second longer than usual, because it's easy to forget, scrolling fast through a fandom built on side-taking and screenshots, that the people typing in these comment sections are dealing with their own first holidays without someone too. For a few days that December, the algorithm that usually rewards outrage ended up rewarding something gentler instead. I think that's actually the most important moment in this entire video, because it proves something the Fan Wars headline doesn't always want to admit. This fandom isn't only capable of tearing people apart in the replies. Sometimes the same group of commenters who'll spend an entire thread dragging Robyn over a years-old grievance will turn around on a different post from a different family member and become the most gentle version of themselves you'll ever see online. Same fandom, same comment box. Two completely different instincts depending on what's actually being asked of them. Okay, here's the payoff, the thing I told you to stick around for. Go back and think about everything you just heard. Meri's flood of comments, Robyn's total silence, the Reddit theories connecting back to an old, unconfirmed grievance, Janelle's comment section turning into a vigil. Now here's the detail almost nobody clocked while all of that was happening in real time. For the entire back half of 2024, every single headline, every theory, every comment war this video just walked you through, Kody Brown did not post one single time. Not once. His account had been frozen since that March announcement, comments off, since before any of this even started. Every fight the fandom had about this family's holidays that year happened entirely in the absence of the one person whose name started the whole show. 3 women carried the entire online narrative of this family's holiday season, while the Patriarch the show is technically named after simply wasn't there. Once you notice that, you can't really unnotice it. The comment wars weren't even about him. They happened around him, like he'd already left the room. And maybe that's the real story buried under all of this. The fandom didn't need Kody Brown to argue with each other about this family. They didn't need a single new post from Robyn either. All they needed was a caption from Meri, a set of screenshots from Christine, a tribute from Janelle, and a whole lot of silence to fill in the gaps with whatever theory felt true enough to argue about. The audience became the plot. The comment section became the show. Think about how strange that actually is. A show literally built around one man and his 4 marriages spent its biggest holiday season of the year being narrated almost entirely by the people who used to be married to him, while he said nothing at all. The cameras weren't even rolling for most of it. There was no film crew standing in Meri's kitchen when she posted that Brandon Stone photo. No producer feeding Janelle her caption on Christmas morning. This This was just 4 women, 3 of them his exes, quietly running the entire public narrative of a family that still carries his name in real time in front of millions of strangers who showed up specifically to react to it. Whatever you think about any one of these women individually, that's a genuinely remarkable thing to watch happen year after year, holiday after holiday, almost entirely by accident. And it's worth remembering that none of this required a camera crew, a producer, or a single new TLC episode to play out. The entire saga, the curiosity, the speculation, the comfort, the grievance, happened on phones, in spare minutes, typed out by people who will probably do the exact same thing again this December, on a different post, about a different caption, with the same old grudges loaded and ready to go. That's not really a flaw in this fandom. That's just what 20 years of watching one family's marriages fall apart in public does to an audience. You stop being a viewer and start being a participant, whether you meant to or not. So here's what I actually want from you. Which one of these were you in the middle of? Were you one of the thousands celebrating Meri's mystery man? Or were you skeptical from comment 1? Did you write something kind under Janelle's tribute? Or were you in a Reddit thread connecting dots about Robyn that may or may not actually be true? Confess which fan war you took part in down in the comments. I want to see the receipts. And if you want more of these deep dives into exactly what's happening underneath this family's social media, hit subscribe because we are not done unpacking this fandom one comment section at a time.